The rain fell heavily over New York City. People hurried across the sidewalks, hiding beneath umbrellas and coats. Yellow taxi lights reflected on the wet streets, and cold wind rushed between the tall buildings. Inside a small diner called Maple Street Café. 20-6-year-old Emma Parker wiped the last table of her evening shift. She was exhausted. Her feet hurt. Her back ached. But she still smiled. Emma had learned long ago that life became easier when you smiled. Through the hard days, her mother used to say, kindness costs nothing, but it can change someone's entire world. Those words stayed in her heart. She needed this job desperately. Her mother was recovering from surgery, and the medical bills were growing every month. Emma worked double shifts to pay rent, buy medicine, and keep their tiny apartment. She barely slept. She rarely complained, because her mother was all she had. The cafe manager, Mr. Daniels, walked by. Emma, close up quickly. I don't want to pay overtime. Yes, sir. Mr. Daniels was known for being strict. He cared more about money than people. If customers stayed too long, he became angry. If employees took extra breaks, he became angry. If someone helped a person without ordering food, he became angry. To him, business came before kindness. Emma finished cleaning and looked at the clock. 11:45 p.m. Almost closing time. She grabbed her coat. Then she noticed someone standing outside. A man, completely soaked. He wore an old dark jacket and a black cap. Rain dripped from his clothes. He looked tired. Very tired. The man stared through the cafe window for several seconds. Then he slowly turned away. Emma's heart felt strange. Something about him looked lonely. She walked to the door. Sir. The man stopped. He turned. For a second, she couldn't believe her eyes. It was Keanu Reeves, but he didn't look like a famous actor. He looked like an ordinary man carrying an invisible weight on his shoulders. Emma had seen pictures of him before. Yet seeing him here, alone, in the rain, felt completely different. Keanu smiled politely. Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. I was just waiting for the rain to slow down. Emma noticed he was shivering. You look freezing. I'll be okay. You should come inside. No, the cafe is closing. It's all right. Before he could answer, Mr. Daniels appeared. Emma locked the door. She looked back. Sir, this gentleman is soaked. Maybe we can let him warm up for a few minutes. Mr. Daniels frowned. We're closed. Keanu spoke gently. It's okay. I don't want any trouble. But Emma couldn't ignore him. She remembered her mother's words. Kindness costs nothing. She looked at Keanu. Please come in. Mr. Daniels looked furious. I said we're closed. Emma took a deep breath. 5 minutes won't hurt. The manager crossed his arms. You pay the bills here? No, sir. Then lock the door. Keanu raised his hand. Really, it's all right. I appreciate your concern. But Emma opened the door. Come. And the actor hesitated. Then he slowly stepped inside. Rainwater dripped onto the floor. Daniels looked ready to explode. Emma guided Keanu to a booth. You can sit here. Thank you. She brought him a towel. Then she made hot tea. She paid for it herself. A few minutes later, she placed the steaming cup in front of him. Keanu looked surprised. You didn't have to do this. It's just tea. He smiled. No, it's kindness. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Outside, thunder echoed across the city. The cafe suddenly felt peaceful. Emma noticed how calm Keanu seemed. No bodyguards. No cameras. No expensive clothes. Just a tired man drinking tea. He looked around. This place reminds me of an old diner I used to visit years ago. You came here before? No, but places like this have memories. Emma smiled. I guess every small cafe holds someone's story. He nodded. Exactly. Then he looked at her. You work late. I usually do. You must be tired. She laughed softly. A little, okay? Very tired. Keanu laughed. It was a warm laugh, the kind that made people feel comfortable. Then he asked, why do you work so much? She hesitated. Usually, she didn't share personal problems with strangers, but something about him felt different. My mother is sick. His expression changed. I'm sorry. She had surgery, and you're taking care of everything? She nodded. Medical bills, rent, medicine. Keanu looked at his tea for a long moment. He said nothing. Then he spoke, quietly. That's a heavy responsibility. Some days it feels impossible, but you keep going. I don't have another choice. He looked at her again. I think you do it. Because you love her. Emma smiled. Yes. The actor nodded slowly. I understand. There was sadness in his eyes. Sadness that seemed familiar. He knew loss. He knew pain. And somehow, in that little cafe, two strangers understood each other without saying much. After a while, Keanu looked outside. The rain was still pouring. He stood. I should go. Already? I've taken enough of your time. You only stayed 15 minutes. 15 minutes of kindness. He smiled. Then he reached into his pocket. I'd like to pay. Emma shook her head. It's just I insist. She smiled. Then, next time. He looked surprised. Next time. Maybe you'll visit again. He smiled. Maybe. Just then. That's ENOUGH. Mr. Daniels stormed toward them. I've had enough of this. The cafe became silent. He pointed at Emma. I told you we were closed. I'm sorry, sir. No, you're not. Keanu stepped forward. Sir, this was my fault. The manager ignored him. You disobeyed me. I only wanted to help. Help? This isn't a charity. The words echoed through the cafe. Keanu's face became serious. Dotmer. Daniels continued. You stayed late, gave away food and drinks, and ignored my orders. It was only tea. I don't care if it was only water. He pointed toward the door. You're fired. Emma froze. The room suddenly felt cold. What? You're fired. Her face turned pale. Sir, please. I warned you. I need this job. Should have thought about that earlier. Tears appeared in her eyes. Please don't do this. Mr. Daniels shook his head. Leave your apron and go. Double quote silence. Complete silence. Keanu looked stunned. He couldn't believe what he had just heard. Emma slowly removed her apron. Her hands trembled. She thought of rent. Medicine. Hospital bills. Her mother. Everything seemed to collapse at once. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I only wanted to help someone. Mr. Daniels answered coldly. And now you can help someone somewhere else. Keanu stepped forward. Sir, please reconsider. The manager looked at him. I don't know who you are. And frankly, I don't care. Emma looked embarrassed. She didn't want a stranger defending her. She wiped her tears. It's okay. Double quotes. No. It wasn't okay. Nothing about this was okay. Keanu looked at her. You lost your job because of me. She forced a smile. Double quotes. No. I lost my job because I made a choice. What choice? To be kind. The words hit him deeply. She looked at him and said, my mother taught me that helping someone is never a mistake. Silence filled the cafe. Even Mr. Daniels stopped speaking. Emma picked up her bag. She looked exhausted, heartbroken, but somehow still kind. She smiled at Keanu. I hope you get home safely. He couldn't answer because he had never expected this. A waitress had lost her job simply because she gave him a cup of tea. She walked toward the door, opened it. Cold rain rushed inside. Before leaving, she looked back one last time. Then she disappeared into the storm. Keanu stood there, speechless. For several seconds, he didn't move. Then he looked at Mr. Daniels. You fired someone for kindness. I fired someone for not following orders. The actor said nothing. He slowly put on his jacket. Then he looked at the door, through which Emma had disappeared. A strange expression appeared on his face. Determination. Because something inside him had changed. He turned back toward the manager. Then he quietly said, you may not know who I am. Mr. Daniels shrugged. I don't care. Keanu nodded. But tomorrow, I think you will. He walked toward the door. The manager laughed. The actor didn't. He stepped into the rain. And his thunder echoed across the city. Keanu Reeves made a silent promise to himself. By tomorrow morning, everything in Emma Parker's life would change. And the man who fired her would never forget this night. The rain continued long after Emma Parker left the cafe. She walked through the dark streets of New York, holding back tears. Her hands were cold. Her heart was broken, but she refused to cry in public. She had always been strong. When her father passed away years ago, she became the person her mother could depend on when bills piled up. She worked extra hours. When life became difficult, she smiled. Tonight was different. Tonight, She had lost the one thing keeping everything together, her job. She reached her apartment building just after midnight. The old elevator was broken again, so she climbed for flights of stairs. By the time she reached her small apartment, her legs felt heavy. She quietly opened the door. The living room lamp was still on. Her mother, Margaret Parker, was asleep on the couch. A blanket covered her legs. Medical papers and pill bottles rested on the table. Emma stood there, silently, looking at her mother, looking at the medicine, looking at the unpaid bills. Suddenly, all the strength she had been holding together broke. Tears filled her eyes. She slowly sat on the floor and cried. Not loudly, not dramatically, just silently. The kind of tears that come when someone is simply tired of being strong. A few minutes later, she felt a hand on her shoulder. Her mother was awake. Emma quickly wiped her face. I'm okay. Margaret smiled softly. Mothers know when their children are not okay. Emma tried to smile, but she couldn't. What happened? Silence. Then the words came out. I lost my job. Her mother looked surprised. What? Emma explained everything. The man standing in the rain. The tea. The argument. Being fired. When she finished, the room became quiet. Margaret looked at her daughter for a long time. Then something unexpected happened. She smiled. Emma looked confused. Mom, why are you smiling? Her mother held her hand. Because I'm proud of you. What? You helped someone. I got fired. You helped someone. I don't know how we'll pay the bills. You protected your kindness. Tears filled Emma's eyes again. Her mother gently touched her face. Listen to me. Emma looked at her. There are moments in life when doing the right thing becomes expensive. She paused. But that doesn't make it wrong. Emma cried softly. I was scared. I know. I still am. Her mother hugged her. And that's okay. The room felt peaceful. Outside, the rain slowly stopped. Margaret smiled. Tomorrow will come. Emma laughed sadly. I don't think tomorrow has anything good waiting for me. Her mother smiled. You'd be surprised what one act of kindness can do. Emma shook her head. If only that were true. Neither of them knew that. At that exact moment, several miles away, Keanu Reeves was sitting alone in his apartment. Thinking about Emma Parker. He couldn't stop thinking about her words. I lost my job because I chose kindness. The sentence repeated in his mind. Again, and again, and again. He looked out the window. The city lights sparkled below. He had met thousands of people. Famous people, powerful people, rich people. But tonight, a waitress with almost nothing had reminded him of something important. Humanity. Compassion. Simple goodness. He picked up his phone, dialed a number. A man answered. Hello? David. Sorry for calling late. Keanu, is everything all right? I need your help. What happened? Keanu explained everything. The rain. The cafe acute. The tea. The firing. There was silence. Then David spoke. You're serious. Very. What do you want to do? Keanu looked outside. I want to help her. How? I don't know yet. David laughed. You called me at 1 a.m. without a plan? No. What is the plan? Keanu smiled. We're going to make tomorrow special. The next morning, Emma woke up early. Actually, she hadn't slept. She stared at the ceiling most of the night. Thinking, worrying, calculating bills. Searching for solutions. At 7 a.m, she walked into the kitchen. Her mother was making tea. Good morning. Morning. Margaret looked at her. You need breakfast. I need a miracle. Her mother laughed. Tea first. Miracles later. Suddenly knock. Both women looked toward the door. Who could that be? Margaret asked. Emma opened it. And froze. Standing outside was a man in a gray suit. Behind him was another woman holding a folder. Miss Emma Parker? Yes. The man smiled. My name is David. Emma looked confused. Okay. May we come in? A few moments later, everyone sat in the small living room. The visitors looked around politely. David smiled. You have a lovely home. Emma looked nervous. Thank you. The woman opened her folder. Then David said something that completely shocked her. I work with Keanu Reeves. Double quote silence. Emma blinked. I'm sorry. What? Mr. Reeves asked me to visit you. She thought she had heard wrong. The man from the café. David smiled. Yes. Her mother nearly dropped her cup. Emma stared at him. Why? David laughed. because he couldn't stop talking about you. What? He told me you lost your job because you showed kindness. Emma looked embarrassed. It was just tea. David smiled. Apparently, it wasn't just tea. Her mother quietly smiled. Emma still couldn't understand. Why are you here? David leaned forward. Mr. Reeves would like to meet you. She blinked again. Me? Yes. Today? Yes. Why? David smiled. He prefers to explain it himself. Margaret looked ready to laugh. Emma looked ready to faint. An hour later, a black car stopped outside a beautiful building in Manhattan. Emma had never been in a place like this. Everything looked expensive. Elegant. Professional. She felt nervous. What if this is a mistake? David smiled. It's definitely not. They entered an office. Then a door opened, and there he was. Keanu Reeves, this time wearing simple jeans and a dark sweater. He smiled. Hi, Emma. She smiled nervously. Hi for a few seconds. Neither spoke. Then Keanu stood. I owe you an apology. What? You lost your job because of me? No. Yes. She shook her head. I made my own choice. He smiled. You really believe that, don't you? Yes. He looked impressed. Most people would have blamed him. She did in single quotes T. He gestured toward a chair. Please sit. They sat. For several moments, the room remained quiet. Then he asked, how's your mother? Emma looked surprised. You remembered? Of course. She's okay. He nodded. Good. Then he looked directly at her. I spent all night thinking about our conversation. She laughed softly. Why? Because people like you are rare. She looked embarrassed. I'm just a waitress. He smiled. No. Silence. You are someone who chose kindness when it cost you something. The room became quiet. He continued. Most people are kind when it's easy. He paused. But real kindness has a price. Emma remembered her mother's words. Almost exactly the same. She couldn't believe it. Keanu smiled. You reminded me of something important. She looked at him, and because of that, I'd like to help. She quickly shook her head. Oh, no. You don't need to. I'm not finished. She laughed. He laughed too. Then he placed a folder on the table. I have a project. What kind of project? A community center. She looked confused. It helps struggling families, seniors, and people looking for work. That's wonderful. I need someone. Okay, someone. Kind. She blinked. Someone. Patient. She blinked again. Someone. Who treats strangers like people. Her eyes widened. Then he smiled. Would you consider working with us? Silence. Complete silence. Emma thought she had misunderstood. Working with you? Yes. She looked at David. Then back at Keanu. Then back at David. Then at Keanu again. He laughed. I know it sounds strange. A little. I understand. She looked at the folder. What exactly would I do? Help coordinate community events and welcome families. I've never done anything like that. You welcomed a freezing stranger at midnight. She laughed. That's different. No. He smiled. That's exactly the job. Tears suddenly appeared in her eyes. She couldn't believe. This. Yesterday she lost everything. Today she was being offered a new opportunity, a better opportunity, a meaningful opportunity. Keanu spoke gently. You don't have to answer today. She looked at him. Why me? He smiled. Because when I looked cold and tired and completely ordinary. He paused. You treated me like a human being. The room became quiet. Then he said, and the world needs more people who do that. Emma's eyes filled with tears. For the first time in many months, they were tears of hope. But neither of them knew. Someone else had just recognized Emma's face on television. At Maple Street. CAFE acute. Mr. Daniels. A reporter was standing outside the building. The headline on the screen read, waitress fired after showing kindness to Keanu Reeves. Daniels nearly dropped his coffee. His face turned pale because he suddenly remembered something. The man in the rain. The tea. The warning. Tomorrow, I think you will know who I am. And now, the entire city knew. Daniels whispered, oh no, because his worst day was only beginning. The morning sun shone through the windows of Maple Street Cafe, but inside, the atmosphere was anything but peaceful. Every employee was staring at the television. The headline remained on the screen. Waitress fired after helping Keanu Reeves on a rainy night. Pictures of Emma and the cafe appeared beside the reporter. Customers were already gathering outside. Some were recording videos. Others were discussing what had happened. Daniels felt his stomach sink. He grabbed the remote and turned off the television. Silence. One of the waiters finally spoke. "Sir, is it true?" Nobody moved. Nobody even blinked. Mr. Daniels cleared his throat. "Everyone get back to work." But no one moved. Another employee looked at him. "You really fired Emma because she gave someone tea?" He became defensive. "I had rules." The cook folded his arms. "Rules are one thing. Humanity is another." Mr. Daniels looked away. For the first time in years, he felt something uncomfortable. Regret. Not because of the television. Not because of the reporters, but because he remembered Emma's face. She had begged for her job. She had been worried about her mother. And despite everything, she had still wished Keanu a safe trip home. She had left with kindness in her heart. And he had answered that kindness with anger. A heavy silence filled the cafe. Then his phone rang. He answered. It was the cafe owner. He sounded furious. "What happened?" "Sir, I can explain." "Can you explain why our cafe is all over the news?" "Sir, I'll be there in 10 minutes. The call ended. Daniels sat down. For the first time in a very long time, he looked scared. Meanwhile, Emma was still sitting inside the community center office. The job offer folder remained in her hands. She looked at Keanu. Then at the folder, then back at him. It still didn't feel real. Finally she spoke. "You trust me with this?" Keanu smiled. "I do. You barely know me." He nodded. "That's true. Then why?" He leaned back in his chair. "Can I tell you something?" She nodded. "When I was younger, I met people who showed kindness when I needed it most." His voice became softer. Small acts, simple words, tiny moments. He smiled. "I never forgot them." The room became quiet. He continued. "People think kindness has to be something huge." He shook his head. "Most of the time, it isn't." He looked directly at her. "Sometimes kindness is simply opening a door." He smiled. "Or making tea for a stranger standing in the rain." Emma laughed through her tears. She couldn't stop smiling. Everything had changed so quickly. Yesterday she had been afraid of losing her apartment. Today someone was offering her a chance to help people. It felt like a dream. She slowly opened the folder. Inside was information about the community center, programs for seniors. Food assistance. Career workshops, educational activities for children, volunteer programs. She looked up. "This is beautiful." Keanu smiled. "We're trying to make it bigger. You've done all this, not alone." He laughed. "Nothing meaningful happens alone." Those words stayed with her. She suddenly remembered something. Her mother. She immediately became serious. "My mother." Keanu noticed. "What's wrong?" "I can't leave her alone for long periods." He smiled. "Then don't." She looked confused. "What?" "This job is flexible." She blinked. "You can adjust your hours." "What?" "And if your mother ever wants to visit, she's welcome." Emma couldn't believe it. She looked as if she might cry again. Keanu laughed softly. "I think you've cried enough for 2 days." She laughed too. Then something happened. Her phone rang. She answered. It was her mother, Emma. Her voice sounded excited. "Mom, turn on the television." "What happened?" "You're on the news." Emma nearly dropped her phone. "What?" "The whole city knows what happened." "What?" Keanu and David looked at each other and laughed. Margaret continued. "People are calling the cafe cruel and calling you a hero." Emma covered her face. "Oh no." Her mother laughed. "Oh yes." She sounded happier than she had in months. Then she said something unexpected. "I've never been more proud of you." Emma's eyes filled with tears. Again. This time even Keanu smiled warmly. After ending the call, she looked embarrassed. "I think my mother is enjoying this." "I think so too." Keanu laughed. Then his assistant entered the office. "Keanu, you should see this." She handed him a tablet. His eyes widened. Thousands of comments. Thousands. People from around the world were discussing Emma's kindness. Some wanted to help. Others wanted to donate to the community center. One message stood out. "The world needs more people like Emma Parker." Then another. "If one cup of tea can change someone's life, imagine what thousands of acts of kindness can do." Keanu looked thoughtful. Very thoughtful. Then he slowly smiled. David recognized that smile. "Oh no." Keanu looked at him. "Oh yes." "What are you thinking?" The actor stood. He looked at Emma. Then at the tablet. Then at everyone. "I think it's time to do something bigger." 3 days later, a large crowd gathered outside the community center. Television crews were there. Families were there. Volunteers were there. Reporters were there. A stage had been built. A banner hung behind it. It read, "The Kindness Project." Emma looked around in disbelief. She was wearing a simple blue dress. Her mother sat in the front row, healthy enough to smile, healthy enough to attend. Margaret looked happier than Emma had seen in years. The event began. Keanu stepped onto the stage. The crowd applauded. He smiled. Then he raised his hand. The crowd became quiet. "I'd like to tell you a story." Silence. "A few nights ago, I stood in the rain outside a small café. Everyone listened. I looked tired." He smiled. "Because I was tired." The crowd laughed. "I was cold. I was wet. And I was just another stranger." He paused. Then a waitress opened the door. Silence. "She gave me tea." Another pause. "And because she chose kindness, she lost her job." The crowd became quiet. Very quiet. Then he smiled. But something incredible happened. He looked toward Emma. Her kindness reminded all of us of something we often forget. The cameras turned toward her. She looked nervous. He continued, "One act of kindness can inspire another." He paused, and another, and another. The crowd nodded. "So today we begin something new." He smiled. "The Kindness Project." Applause erupted. He continued speaking. "This project will help families facing medical bills." More applause. "It will support people looking for jobs." More applause. "It will help seniors and struggling communities." Even louder applause. "And it will encourage simple acts of kindness." Then he smiled. "And I know exactly who should help lead it." He looked toward Emma. The crowd turned. She looked confused. Then surprised. Then shocked. "Emma Parker." Silence. "Would you please join me on stage?" The entire crowd applauded. Margaret covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. Emma slowly walked onto the stage. She looked overwhelmed. Keanu handed her a microphone. She looked terrified. The crowd laughed kindly. He smiled. "Relax." She laughed nervously. Then he asked, "Why did you help me that night?" She looked at him, then at the crowd, then at her mother. Finally she smiled. "My mother taught me something." Silence. She took a deep breath. "She taught me that every person deserves kindness, especially when they look like they're carrying a heavy burden." The crowd became quiet. She continued, "I didn't help someone famous." She smiled. "I helped a person standing in the rain." Silence. "And if I had to make that choice again," tears appeared in her eyes, "I would do it exactly the same way." The crowd erupted into applause. Some people stood. Then more people stood. Soon everyone was standing. A standing ovation. Emma looked overwhelmed. She looked at her mother. Margaret was crying. Proud tears. Happy tears. Keanu smiled. Because this was exactly why he had created the event. Not because of fame, not because of attention, but because kindness deserves to be celebrated. Then he surprised everyone. He turned toward Emma. "I have one more announcement." The crowd became quiet. He smiled. "Emma Parker has officially accepted a leadership role in the Kindness Project." The crowd cheered again, and he laughed. "She'll be helping us expand our programs across several communities." Emma looked shocked. "What?" The crowd laughed. He whispered, "Surprise." She laughed so hard she almost cried again. Then he handed her another folder. She opened it. Inside was a letter. Her eyes widened. The project would also provide support for her mother's medical recovery and transportation needs. She looked at him, speechless, absolutely speechless. Keanu smiled. Kindness should never leave someone standing alone. Tears streamed down her face. This time she didn't try to stop them. The crowd applauded again. Then something happened that nobody expected. A voice came from the audience. Emma. Everyone turned. It was Mr. Daniels, the former manager. He looked nervous, very nervous. He walked toward the stage. The cameras followed him. He looked at Emma, then lowered his eyes. For several seconds, he couldn't speak. Finally, he said, "I was wrong." Silence. "I forgot something important." He looked ashamed. "I forgot that people matter more than rules." The crowd listened. He looked at Emma. "I heard someone who did the right thing." Tears filled his eyes. "I'm sorry." The entire place became quiet. Emma looked at him. Then she smiled. A gentle smile. The same smile she had worn on the rainy night. "It's okay." He looked shocked. She continued, "I forgive you." Silence. Some people in the crowd began crying. Because kindness had won again. Keanu smiled. Margaret smiled. And Mr. Daniels cried. Because sometimes the greatest gift a person receives is a second chance. Months later, the Kindness Project had helped thousands of families. Hundreds of volunteers joined. Scholarships were created. Food programs expanded. Job workshops grew. And every new volunteer heard the same story, the story of a waitress, a cup of tea, and a rainy night. Inside the community center entrance hung a small framed sign dotted red, "Never Underest."